I don't know. I'm not sure what
We're on in 3, 2, 1.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, can we have your attention, please? Are we videotaping already?
Yeah.
Okay, we're already on. Okay. And are you on here?
I think so. Can you guys hear me okay?
Okay, well, as we talked about, I've invited my friend Jackson to be here today. He is already aware of the fact that you guys have studied the article, What It Takes to Be Great. We talked about it with him, and I thought I'd bring in a real-life person who is out there working,
Decent.
who does work for a living.
Great's a big word.
Yeah, and he's gonna share what he does because he works in a what is an interesting field, and in the field of interest we learned yesterday to a couple of these guys and maybe girls as well. So here's my friend Jackson. Let's welcome him. Yeah.
What's up, guys? So thanks for letting me hang out with you guys. It's the last period on a Friday, right? So you guys are pretty much ready to leave, but we're gonna talk for just a little bit. So I'm excited to be here. I've never talked in front of a student audience before, so it's exciting for me. I haven't been in a school in many years now, but it's cool to be back. And so I think my goal today is to talk to you guys a little bit about what I do, and then of course sort of key off of what you guys have been learning and sort of how it's really more about hard work rather than talent, but in my case I would consider it to be a fair amount of luck as well. But just to sort of break things down, the fun way of describing what I do is I play video games for a living. So that's really, really neat. I'm sure a lot of you guys are like, whoa, that'd be really fun, and it is. It's really fun. But there is a lot more to it than that. Essentially what I do is I run my own business that revolves around content creation, a lot of it being gaming, but one of the things that I've realized is it's a lot more about your personality and what you bring to the table as your own unique person. And sharing that with the world has been something that I've been able to do for a living and continue to build off of. So to sort of expand on that just a little bit, my day-to-day revolves around posting videos on YouTube, and you guys know what YouTube is, right? I mean, I feel like, yeah, okay, cool. Hey, the younger audience I would expect to know what YouTube is sometimes like, YouTube, what's that? It's like, so YouTube is a big part of what I do. YouTube is where I started posting gaming videos and posting like IRL content, in real life content, just like vlogs and stuff like that. But I also, and I'm going to be surprised if you guys know this one. Do you guys know what Twitch is? Twitch.tv? Yeah, okay, cool. So Twitch is, I spend a lot of time on Twitch.tv every day. Maybe after this I'll give you guys my channel and stuff. You can check it out if you want to. He's already got it. He came up and already checked me out. So he's doing some research right now. I like that. So yeah, right. So we'll get you guys some sub emotes here pretty soon. But anyway, so I spend a lot of time on Twitch.tv as well, and I do gaming, but I also do fitness, and that's a relatively new thing for me. But that'll just sort of key off of the idea that you can sort of take what you like to do and find ways of sharing that with the world and being able to do it consistently. I think that's something that we'll talk about a little bit later on. But yeah, so I do YouTube videos, I do live streaming, and then of course you sort of build off of with social media on Twitter, right? So you can do a lot of interaction with your people on Twitter and stuff. And by doing a good job at the basic stuff, YouTube content creation, Twitch content creation, I get to work with companies that I really like as well. So when I was little, I was a distance runner in like high school and stuff, and I was like, man, how cool would it be to work with Nike? And so now, essentially, I get to work with the Nikes of gaming. I get to work with bodybuilding.com, which is a pretty big website. And so yeah, so I'm sponsored by bodybuilding.com, sponsored by Corsair, and all of these things all come together to sort of form what I do for a living. So just as a quick thing, if you guys have any questions during the course of me talking, feel free to chime in. But I do want to give you guys just a short little idea of how I got started, right? So my YouTube channel was born in my junior year of college. I was working hard and I was like, this is cool and everything, but I feel like I need a creative outlet. And this is a time when I was also watching a lot of gaming content on YouTube, so this is something that I like to do. I was like, I really love watching videos on YouTube. This makes me happy during my day, and it's exciting for me to do this. But what would be really cool is if I could create content as well that made people feel good as well. And so I started doing that. I started playing a game called World of Warcraft. Have you guys heard about that one? I know it's like a pretty old game at this point, but it's still my favorite game, so I've been playing it a lot and I owe a lot to it. But I started playing a game called World of Warcraft, and I thought it would be fun to sort of chart my journey through that game. So I started playing the game and I started my YouTube channel at the same time. And so I was like running around as like a little noob in that game, and I was like, okay, this is fun. I'm going to share this with you guys. And at first, like maybe 12 people watched my videos, but they would leave comments, and I would respond to every single comment. And I took it, pretty seriously, even though it was just starting off. And slowly, over time, my genuine interest in what I was doing and the passion for what I was doing and the sort of creativity that I brought ended up growing. And a couple months after that, my YouTube channel really started to build into something special. And this is also a time where a website called Justin TV was born. And my friends were like, yo, you really should be streaming as well, because streaming is right up your alley, right? So if I love creating content and I love interacting with my viewers, then doing that sort of thing live is perfect for me. So I started streaming on a website called Justin TV, which eventually gave rise to Twitch.tv, which is just the big gaming website now. So throughout me continuing to make content on YouTube and make content on Twitch and continue to build an audience, as you continue to build an audience and as more people are watching what you're doing, people want to be a part of that. Companies want to be a part of that. So let's say, I like what you're doing. Here is a link that you can put on your stream, and you can promote our product if you like it. Don't promote products that you don't like. That's not only not genuine, but it's also illegal. But if you like products that we have, then you can support them, and we can sort of pay you monthly for that sort of thing. So I don't want to get too much into the business side of things. But what I really want to focus on for you guys is letting you know that, especially at this time right now, I don't think that you guys are, maybe some of you are thinking about starting your own business. I don't imagine that's like, tier 1 on your list of objectives here. But one of the things that should be on your list of objectives are finding out what you're good at, and finding out what you like to do, and finding ways to develop that and tell your own story through your life. So these are the kind of things where, when I was young, I like to make Lego movies. Have you guys ever done that, where you have your camcorder? I mean, maybe you guys have the camera crew here. You guys make your little animated Lego movies. That's something I did when I was really, really young. I didn't really think too much about it. But then when I think back on, what was I good at? What did I like to do? I like to play a lot of video games, and I like to tell stories. And so when I sort of look at now at what I do, those sort of things have been integrated into my job now. And the fact that I can make it a job is insane, but just because I asked you guys in the beginning of this, are you familiar with YouTube? Are you familiar with Twitch? Are you familiar with Twitter? Social media is such an insane tool for sharing what you're good at and what you like to do with the world. And it doesn't have to be necessarily making it a job right now. But if you get in the habit of thinking to yourself, what kind of story do I want to tell about my own self? When I tell somebody, here's what I'm into, here's what I'm good at, here's what I've done with these things, what kind of story do you want to tell? And so for me, in particular, YouTube was a good tool for me to do that. Twitch has been and continues to be a good tool for me to do that. And if you look at my Twitter stuff, a lot of it is me sort of trying to put out the genuine but good vibes that I actually have and share that with the world in a positive way. And I think that's one of the things that's helped me out so much in terms of building a community that I feel good about, building a community that likes what I do. And I think that's just a result of me creating the content that I like, me being myself, and allowing anybody who wants to hang out with me in my content to be able to do that. And anybody that's not really their thing, they don't have to watch. They don't have to hang out on the stream. And that's okay with me. I'm not trying to please everybody. I'm just trying to be myself and create the kind of content that I like. And obviously, that's a really exciting, cool thing to be able to do. But I think where this sort of ties in with what you guys have been learning about is I don't just want to sit here and be like, guys, I work really, really hard. Trust me. I play video games all day. It's a really tough job. That's not what I want to do. What I would like to encourage you guys to do is, like I said, find out what you're good at, find out what you like to do, and be willing to work hard at it. And I feel like right now, we're in a school setting. Sorry, Dan. Sometimes things like school, like homework and stuff, not the most exciting thing to do. But when I was sort of thinking about how I wanted to phrase what I'm talking about here, what homework allows you to do and what school allows you to do, even if it's not like the super most exciting thing, is it allows you to practice being excellent. It allows you to practice doing things that are required for you to be successful. Because when I'm in the position that I am in now, I get to do a lot of things that I like to do. It's really exciting. But one of the reasons why I'm able to do what I do now is because I did take my school seriously. I took sports seriously. Things that gave me a path to be on, to progress. I take that seriously and I always try to be the best at it within my capability. And it's not necessarily being the best that matters the most. It's that you get to practice doing the things that are required to be the best, right? And even within my own realm, there are plenty of people with way more subscribers than me on YouTube, plenty of people with way more viewers on Twitch and that sort of thing. But what's so cool is that I've been able to do my thing and have it be successful because I've been equipped with the tools to do that sort of thing, right? So when you guys are listening to me today, like I said, there are a few things that I want you to remember. The first one is, what are you good at? What do you like to do? Right? That's the first thing. Find a way to share that with the world in a cool way. The second thing is, be willing to step up to the challenge of even just everyday, day-to-day stuff. Try to do your best at whatever it is you're doing, because it's worth it, even if it doesn't always turn out the way you want it to. Now, I made a vlog at a pretty intense part in my life where I was feeling really strongly that I needed to express a certain thing, and I think it's probably worthwhile talking about it right now. And the message that I was saying was, no matter what it is in your life that sort of strikes you as valuable, that strikes your passion, that sort of gets you excited, it's worth, as long as it's a positive thing, it's worth going after that thing, no matter how it really turns out. Because sometimes, you know, in a situation of like, you know, maybe like a big game, right? You're really excited about that big game. You put in the practice, you did the work, you did everything required to be successful at it, but it still doesn't go your way, right? That's a bummer. That really, it hurts. It burns. But the thing about it is, you doing all that work, you doing all the preparation, you doing what you had to do to put yourself in position to be successful was actually so much more important whether or not you won that game in that situation, right? Because all of this stuff that you guys are doing right now, I feel like is extremely important in the moment, for sure. It's valuable, it's necessary that you guys do a good job. But what it's doing for you long term is preparing you to be good at, when the opportunity arises to do something that you really, really want, you're not like, oh man, how do I manage my time? How do I actually activate the desire and the ability to be efficient and succeed at what I want? So by doing this, you're preparing yourself to find those situations and be successful. And that's, I think, the main thing that I want to talk to you guys about today. So if you guys have any questions, I mean, I'm happy to hear them. Even if it's like, you know, what's up with the YouTube channel? What's up?
Do you still get weirded out by your voice?
But do I still get weird about my voice?
Yeah.
Sometimes, like if you hear yourself on a microphone,
Yeah.
like right now it's like, ugh. But I think that part of that is, we're all a little weird, you know? Especially me, I'm more than just a little bit weird. But I think that what's cool is that I get to share whatever sort of quirky, weird uniqueness with other people. And you know, if you're honest about yourself, if you're honest about who you are and how you present yourself, people are going to love you, man. That's just how it is. So yeah, I mean, hearing your own voice on a microphone is kind of weird, and sometimes you're like, ooh, I sound weird, but at the same time, it's like, that's me, and I'm cool with it. So yeah, thank you. What's up?
I had a question about what you base your videos on, and when
Yeah.
I say that, I mean, do you just like play the games, or you display the tricks of the games?
Yeah, that's a great question. So my videos, there's a lot of different kinds, right? Some of them are exactly like you mentioned. Some of them are like guides where, okay, so here's my character, and he's powerful because I've set him up to be strong in a certain way. So I tell them, like, here's the best way to create this character. Some of them are also like just gameplay. Like, here's me just playing today. And that's especially like the live stream stuff, like when I play live, but some of that's just like, here's my gameplay for today, and just sort of share that with people. But yeah, there's a lot of different style of content, but I think the content that really shines the most for me, at least on YouTube, is the stuff where, you know, no one's done that before. You have a crazy idea, like, wouldn't this be insane if I did this? And you find a way to make it happen. So I used to do like funny voices and stuff for my characters, and nobody was really doing it at the time. And that sort of projected me out of just one of the people making videos to like, wow, this guy's funny, or this guy's weird. We should watch more of him, and so there's that too. But yeah, I think that there's lots of different kinds of content, but here's the most important thing that I think comes out of all of the different kind of content that you can make, at least for me, is that eventually I realized when it was pretty early on when I started making YouTube videos, and I think I mentioned this, is that people become a little bit less interested in exactly the video itself, like the gameplay, and it's more like the video game is a medium for you to share yourself with people. So when I make videos and stuff like that, and when I make a lot of my live stream stuff, it's much less about, here is the video game, and I'm teaching you how to play, and it's more about, here's my personality, here's my style of playing the video game, and people really key onto that, and that's what I think is one of the things that has helped me be successful.
Hey Jackson, as we go through more questions, maybe if the video can't pick it up, you can repeat the question.
Sure.
Because they're not as loud as you
Oh,
are.
that's the kind of thing I do in interviews. But
Yeah.
yeah, I got a little, getting relaxed here. Yeah, absolutely, thanks. What's up?
How many hours would you say you normally stream?
Right, so I usually stream, so my schedule these days is, I wake up and I'll do a little bit of video editing, and then I will start my gym stream. So I actually have built a gym in my garage, and I can work out. I actually live stream my workouts now, which is a little bit weird, but also really cool, because I mean, that's my thing. I'm a little bit weird, but I do what I want to do, so it works out pretty well. So I stream that for about 2 to 3 hours. Then I take a break, go for a walk with my wife, Jenny, over there, and hang out, get some food, and then I usually will stream in the evening, maybe 5 to 6 hours. So oftentimes my work day can be maybe 8 hours to 10 hours, but I mean it's something I love to do, so it's really fun. Yeah.
Did you ever consider doing something else before you started making YouTube videos?
Yeah, so I got really lucky. So here's the lucky part. The question was, did I ever consider doing something else before I started making YouTube videos? And for sure. And I think this will happen to you guys as well. I mean, you guys are relatively young, and that's awesome. Your opportunities are very, very wide, right? You have a lot of cool stuff on the way for you. But yeah, when I was young, I mean, what I wanted to do changed, like often, right? But it's okay if what you want to do, I mean, I'll answer like if there's an example of what I wanted to do, but there's something else. What you want to do will change, and that's okay. That's probably how it should be. I mean, people, for example, people change their majors all the time in college, as a small example. But what's cool is that if you approach the things that you want to do, whatever it may be at the time, with that passion, with that energy, you make yourself better at going after those kind of things. And that's what I was talking about a little bit before. So it's worth practicing, saying, well, you know, I'm really into music right now. I really want to learn how to play the guitar. And you're putting a lot of time and effort and getting excited about learning to play the guitar, that's great. If later on you're like, you know what, I'm not really into music as much anymore, I really want to get good at basketball. And you decide to put a lot of time and effort into basketball, or whatever it is, art. You get practice doing well at something, and you get practice learning how to get better at something, and that's like the most valuable. But yeah, for me, I don't know, I was studying philosophy in college. I thought that was neat. I thought that learning about different ways of thinking are really cool. I definitely encourage you guys when you get to that stage, if you have a chance to take philosophy classes, it's really fun, it's cool, do it. But yeah, and the way that YouTube started was, I started my YouTube channel not as like thinking that I was going to do it for a job. I started just because I thought it would be neat. I thought it'd be something fun to do. But what's so cool about this sort of day and age that we live in is that if enough people are interested in what you're doing, then you can monetize that. Because that's the phrase for it, is monetization, which means that, so for example on YouTube, you get, you know, if you get partnered on YouTube or whatever, maybe you get like $1 per 1,000 views on a video, right? And that's cool. But if you get 1 million views a month, it starts to add up. Same thing on Twitch. I mean, there's also different sorts of ways of monetizing what you do. Like I mentioned, you know, I can sell apparel, I can sell like clothing and stuff. Or I can work with companies that I like, and that's a sponsored position where they'll pay you monthly to be part of their, you know, advertising campaign or whatever else. And so there's a lot of things that go along with that. But yeah, to answer the question, a couple different ways, which I usually do. I was not planning to do YouTube for a job, but since I really enjoyed it, since I was passionate about it, and since I had the practice of learning how to do things well from, you know, my entire school career and everything else like that, I was able to step up and take advantage of that really lucky chance that I had and make it something I could do for a living. So yeah, that's up.
How was your middle school experience?
My middle school experience was honestly pretty darn good. I think that my parents were always super supportive of me. I feel like I had good friends. Now, I will tell you that there was a time where my best friends left the school that I was at, and I was really sad. But aside from that, I always had a good core group of friends. I felt like I was always, here's one thing, is I felt like I was always pretty confident, even just doing my own thing. And I think that's probably like a strength that has stuck with me throughout my life, is that even if not everybody, if I didn't have like, you know, everybody around me telling me that I was doing a good job all the time, I was still like, I get to do what I want. But yeah, I mean, I played basketball. I was like, you know, I was a best player, no big deal. If I didn't score 20 plus points a game, we'd lose. And we had a 50-50 record, so I did okay. But yeah, I mean, I had a fine middle school experience. How's your middle school experience? Pretty good. Same. Yeah.
What recording and editing software do you use for your videos?
Yeah. So what recording and editing software do I use? NVIDIA Shadowplay to record, and I use Open Broadcaster to stream, and then I use Sony Vegas to edit. But that being said, when I very first started, I was doing everything out of an 08 MacBook Pro, which is not really the tip-top gaming or editing PC, right? So, but what I did is I said, what do I have available to me to use? And I made it work. So you might not have the ideal setup for whatever it is that you want to do, but if you're willing to put forth the effort and make things happen regardless of kind of whatever sort of minor disadvantages you're in, like that's valuable. And it actually makes you stronger at what you do, because rather than like technology fueling you, or rather than like having this perfect setup, make everything exactly right for everything to fall into place, it's your willpower, it's your willingness to work, it's your willingness to put in the effort that will carry you through. And I think that's kind of what happened with me. Yeah.
What motivates you to keep going?
Oh man, I get this question a lot in terms of fitness, especially. What motivates me to keep going? So the situation that I found myself in is, like I said, it's very, very fortunate, is that I do something that I love to do for a living. So every day I wake up and I'm excited to do what I'm doing, right? I love to play video games. I love working out. I love to sort of share what I'm doing with other people. But that also applies to like, so what if I didn't love what I was doing? How would you stay motivated to do that? And I think that's where the big concept that I try to instill in my viewers is there's a difference between motivation, which is like, yeah, I feel like doing this, and discipline. And discipline is kind of what I try to rely on. And discipline is that situation where you're like, I don't really feel like doing this, but I know it's the right thing to do, and there's not really any sort of mental barrier to that. You say, I'm going to get it done because it needs to be done. And whether it's you need to be disciplined in terms of accomplishing a goal that you set for yourself, or you need to be disciplined because there's a goal that has already been set for you. Either way, the willingness to endure and the willingness to put forth effort and the willingness to sort of summon your will, as my dad likes to say, to do things, regardless of whether or not you feel like it, that's what discipline is. And I think that learning how to use and practice discipline is going to be extremely important for you guys. You may as well start now. It's important. I feel like, if some of you guys play sports, I'm sure you guys hear about discipline quite a bit. And just like anything else, like a lot of things that I'm talking about, discipline is a skill. It's not just something that you have already. It's something that you practice. And if you practice discipline, then you'll get better at it, just like everything else. What's up?
Do you have to invest, can you just invest in better stuff later on?
Absolutely, yeah. The question is, can I invest in better stuff later on, like equipment stuff? Absolutely. Yeah, so like I said, I started on the MacBook, the 08 MacBook Pro, and my parents had got me that, as a graduation present from high school to use, in college. I don't think they really meant for me to put a bunch of games on it and then start my YouTube channel necessarily. But yeah, I mean, absolutely. If you start doing something because you like it, then there's really nothing that's going to hold you back from doing that, right? And so you sort of infuse it with your passion, infuse it with your creativity, right? There's all this stuff that you have available that technology can't even do for you. I mean, you can have the best camera, you can have the best recording software and everything, but if you don't have, if you don't invest your creativity and your personality and your skill in what you're doing, I mean, it doesn't matter. What the core of it all is your willingness to step up and put in the effort. So yeah, I mean, absolutely. Things started going well, and I was able to build my own computer after my YouTube channel sort of started blooming a little bit. And so I built my own computer. And then my next computer after that was actually a computer that I got from a sponsor. So things tend to build off of that. But absolutely, I mean, you can start with nothing and make something awesome out of it, as long as you're willing to continue to put in the work and take things step by step, for sure. Yeah.
What do you think helps, gain subscribers and watchers?
Yeah, that's a question I get often really too. Is that what does it take to or what helps to gain viewers and gain followers and stuff like that? There's a lot of different ways of doing this. For me personally, what has worked for me is, like I mentioned earlier, just sort of being genuine, being myself, and creating the kind of content that I want to create and the kind of content that I want to see. That's how I started. Is I started making content like, well, what do I like to watch? I like to watch people playing the game and sort of just talking over it, just as in almost like a vlog. You guys know what a vlog is, right? Yeah. But rather than sitting in front of a camera and vlogging, it's more like you're playing the game, and that's your medium to share your personality. And so that's always what I try to do. But there is a little bit more to that, rather than just sitting down and just talking. I think that bringing something unique to the table is valuable. And what's cool is that we're all, just by being ourselves, unique in some way. We all have unique skill sets, we all have unique talents and unique personalities. And if you can find a way to share what's special about you, what you're good at, what you like to do, through whatever medium you want, for me it was gaming. If you can share that through gaming, your personality, then I think that's what helped me grow the most.
Did you do any kind of advertisement, I guess? How did you get people?
Oh yeah, right, did I self-advertise and stuff?
Yeah.
I feel like I used to probably post my own videos on my own personal Facebook. But the cool thing about that is there's no amount of self-promotion, in my opinion, that's going to get you what good content will give you. The best thing you can do is create the best videos. And that's at least what's carried me. But yeah, you can do that. You can sort of share, tell your friends, hey, I made this video, you want to go watch it? And that'll help in your network and stuff like that. But I think the main thing is just make darn good videos and people will watch. I think we had a question over here, right? Yeah.
How did your YouTube channel really start growing?
So my YouTube channel really started growing, I think, and this is why I consider myself so lucky, is I felt like it grew pretty quickly. I think that I started off making just basic gameplay videos, and then pretty quickly after that I also started making just some real life vlogs, hey guys, I'm having to write a paper, it's like midnight, and I really don't want to write this paper. Like, just kind of fussing about stuff, but people were like, oh, I mean, I hate writing papers too. Like, and so we all sort of, you kind of share a part of yourself, even if you're like a little bit vulnerable, or even if you're not at your best. If you share yourself, if you're honest with other people about yourself, then a connection kind of forms there. But I think what really propelled my channel was my willingness to be really goofy. Like within relatively good taste, it was really goofy. Doing like silly voices of my characters. Like I would create a character and I would infuse them with their own unique personality. And that's one of the things, like, you know, looking back on my younger life, I always used to like to do impressions of people. I'm not probably very good at it, but you don't have to be good at it. If you are having fun with what you're doing, and other people can sort of feel the amount of fun that you're having, that matters. And so that's what I did. And interestingly enough, like in terms of, I'm not really sure exactly what you mean by when it took off, but I can tell you when I was able to quit my job, and that was a couple months down the line, really. I think I started my YouTube in November of 2010, and I think I officially quit my job like a year later. And it was all, and I consider myself insanely lucky because my parents were moving across the country. My dad got a new job, and I was like 20, and I was like, well, I don't really want to be living with my parents right now. Because I want to stay where I am, so I moved in with my friend, and my parents, I like to tell this story, my parents were like, okay, you can stay here, but there's one rule, is that you cannot quit your job as soon as we leave. And I was like, okay, Mom. So I quit my job as soon as they left, and went full, huh? No, you got to get them nice and across the country so they can't come like, hey, what are you doing? So, but yeah, so I said, my YouTube and my Twitch are, here's an important thing though, is that my YouTube and Twitch were already outperforming my other job. I was working as a lifeguard. That was a fun job. You don't have to wear a shirt. You get to be outside. It's great, you know. But my YouTube channel and my Twitch channel, my entire project that I was building, was outperforming my lifeguarding job at the time by a fair amount. So that's why I felt comfortable doing this. And this is an important point, because a lot of people like the idea, like the romantic idea of throwing everything aside and starting to stream, because they see people successful at it, or throwing everything aside and starting a YouTube channel because they see people being successful at it. And here's, I very much, very emphatically tell people not to do that. You don't want to quit what you're doing to start doing something else necessarily, at least in this situation. I think a lot of times what happens, and I hope this is speaking to you guys in some way, but you guys have main goal, right? You have goal A. For in this situation, it might be school for you guys. You mean like it's pretty much mandatory, right? You really have to be willing to put in work on goal A. But you don't have to quit goal A to put work into goal B. So for me, that example was school and work were goal A. I want to do well at my job. I want to do well in school. They're important to me. It's something that I need to do well at in order to keep my options open. But at the same time, I can continue to put work into my YouTube channel, my Twitch stream, because it's on the side. It's something fun. It's something that I enjoy doing. But as a result of that, as a result of knowing how to do a good job at things that I like to do, from all the training that Goal A gave me all through my life, I was able to turn Goal B into Goal A, right? The main thing. I was able to have Goal B outperform Goal A and say, you know what? It's been real lifeguarding, but I'm going to start playing video games for a living. And so that's what I did. But yeah, I mean, it took off pretty quick, and it took off at exactly the right time, and I'm very grateful for it. Yeah.
Have you ever played any other games like World of Warcraft?
Yeah, I've played a lot of different games. What games do you play?
Call of Duty?
Yeah, I've played a little bit of Call of Duty. I've played League of Legends. I've played Overwatch. I play a ton of different games. Like, what's actually interesting is that sometimes when there's new games that come out, the game company will be like, hey, would you like to play this game on your stream, and we'll pay you. And so if the game looks like fun to you, you say, yeah, sure, that'd be great. And so that's another way that you sort of make a living doing what I do. But yeah, I mean, I've played a lot of different games like that. I think those are some of the big ones, like CSGO, those sort of things, yeah. Absolutely, yeah, you like CSGO? Yeah, I've played a lot of those games. Yeah, I've played quite a few games in my life, and I've probably played a lot of games that you guys have no idea what I'm talking about too, because I'm old. So there's that too. I think my first system was a Super Nintendo, so yeah, played a lot. You have a Game Boy, an old Game Boy, me too. DS Lite, I think I have that one. Yeah, what's up? You good? Were you stretching or raising your hand? Okay, that's fine. Yeah.
When you get comments and if there's suggestions of other games you should play, do you like listen to those comments, I guess? Or?
Sometimes, yeah. If somebody suggests another game, yeah, absolutely. Sometimes I'll be like, I mean, it depends on what kind of channel you want to have. If you are willing to just sort of say, I'm going to play a variety of games. People do that. That's a thing on, especially on Twitch. They call them variety streamers, right? So you play a variety of different games. And I think that, I feel like I'm giving you like a very similar answer, but that might be the answer for you, is that those people, especially the ones who play a variety of different games, even more than anybody else, what keeps people coming back to their channel is their personality. So if it doesn't matter what game you play, you can say, I'm just going to, I have my unique sort of lens that I sort of see the world through, and no matter what I'm interacting with in a video game world, I have my own personality that I'm bringing to the table. And I think it's that personality. So sometimes people love to see their favorite YouTubers like play a scary game, right? So because they're all like freaking out because it's scary, right? But it's not necessarily the scary game that you're interested in. It's the reaction of the person that you like to watch on YouTube that you're interested in seeing. So yeah, I think that there's definitely a willingness to play different games, but there is an idea that I've wanted to talk about that sort of has to do with comments. Nobody asked the question yet, but it's kind of one of those things that I've had on my mind. Is on the internet, as I'm sure you guys have known, people can be mean for like no reason, right? They can be mean really easily from behind a keyboard, right?
Yeah.
So here is one of the things that I've talked about a lot recently, just on my stream and stuff. When you do, and you've probably heard this before in different ways, but when you're doing something cool, when you're doing something good, when you are making positive strides in your life, there are going to be people who see what you're doing, and it makes them feel uncomfortable because they see you're doing something good, and when they sort of reflect upon themselves, they're like, I'm not really doing anything good right now, or I'm jealous that he's doing, or he or she is doing this well at this thing, and rather than try to elevate themselves and be inspired, they'll try to bring you down. And it's really easy to do that online. But one of the things that you guys can do, besides just being like, not involved, your negative sort of self-reflection is not my problem. That's true, it's not. If you're doing something good, you keep doing your thing and don't let people bring you down. But especially online, is that you can sort of, and this is kind of like your question too, you can sort of condense constructive criticism out of that, like this game's bad, you should be playing something else. What I would do, is I would sort of distill the constructive criticism and be like, they want me to play a different game, and sort of sweep all the rest of the ugly stuff out of the way. But yeah, that's just an important message for you guys as young people, because you guys are gonna be doing some really, really cool stuff in your life. And there are gonna be people who you're like, why is this person being mean to me for no reason? And sometimes it has to do with that particular phenomenon that I'm mentioning. Is that you're doing something cool, they see it, the negative self-reflection occurs, and they try to bring you down. Don't let them do that. Especially, that happens a lot online. Yeah. Yeah.
Once you started your channel, how long did it take you to start getting sponsors?
Yeah, so I don't remember like the exact timeline, but I'm sure there's like an amount of viewership that takes place. But I think that for me, it didn't take too long, but then again, it wasn't necessarily even something that I was like really like hoping for or working towards. Like a lot of these things, since I started off so fresh, I didn't really have like a big plan, like a grand overarching plan of what to do. I was pretty much just saying, I was, it's a cliche thing to say, but I was following my heart, right? I was allowing the content and what I was doing to sort of lead me on, because I didn't necessarily need to have like the super intense business model, which may be very helpful, especially now that you guys have seen this sort of thing take place. I mean, there's a lot of people who are fairly successful on YouTube and Twitch that you can learn from, like this person did it this way. But for me, it was pretty much just like, I'm gonna continue to do the things that I think are fun and do what I believe in. And then, but eventually, yeah, people said, we like what you're doing. We'd like for you to be part of our program. But also, what's interesting is that once you get going, especially, and once you sort of have something to present, you can actually reach out to sponsors yourself. And it might not always be a yes, we'd love to work with you, but that's one of those skills that you can practice. And that's why I talk about how do you tell your own story. Because when you approach a sponsor about something, or when you go in for a job opportunity, or when you go to apply for college, these are the kind of things that you're gonna need to be able to do, is give an account of who you are, what you're good at, and what you like to do, and what you have done. And so similar to for me, where it's like, I have like, this is my portfolio. These are the videos that I've made. This is my viewership that I can bring to your company. For you, I'm like, this is what I'm good at. This is what I like to do. This is what I have done. And by learning how to and getting better at telling your own story, that's how you get people excited and involved in your project, whatever it may be. Yeah.
Have you ever collaborated with other YouTubers?
Yeah, I have. the collaboration is fun. You got to be kind of careful though, because sometimes like you got to make sure that their style is right for your audience and that your style is right for their audience. But yeah, that's one of the really fun things about YouTube, about Twitch in general, but also just whatever you want to do. You find other people who are passionate about what you're doing and see if you can work together to make it better. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, I feel like I've worked with a lot of people in the WoW community. I've also, you know, haven't necessarily collaborated with, but we've had the opportunity to meet some of the biggest YouTubers. Like we've met Markiplier, we've met CNanners, and we've met people like that go to like YouTube stuff like that, and had the opportunity to talk to them quite a bit. And they've been awesome people. They're really cool dudes, and it's valuable to learn from them. So when the people are talking, when somebody comes to your school and talks to you, you should listen because they know what they're talking about. But that's not what I'm saying. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot to learn from those kind of people. But the collaboration idea is like definitely, if there are people who are doing the kind of thing that you're interested in doing or getting better at, then reach out to them, learn from them because it's valuable. Yeah, for sure. So a question over here. What's up?
What year did you start your YouTube channel?
2010. Yeah, November of 2010. What, were you guessing something?
I was thinking 2013 because I got 2012. I was trying.
Oh yeah, 2010. It was a while ago. How much do I bench? 355. What's up? Yeah, 355. Boom.
How many big YouTubers?
How many big YouTubers are there? I feel like it depends on what you mean by a big YouTuber. But yeah, I've gone like, you know, you meet them at conventions, like whenever you go to like, there's a big one like TwitchCon and BlizzCon. Like those are the big ones that I like to go to, and we've also had opportunities to do like small workshops with YouTube. So yeah, we've come into contact with a lot of different people who have all their different style, and it's really, really neat. Sure, go for it.
I guess just being like curious person.
Uh-huh.
How does like your family and like everyone react to kind of your job? I guess.
Yeah, that's a fun one. The question was how does my family react to my job? So now they're pretty excited about it. Now they think it's really cool. They think it's neat that I get to interact with so many people. As a result of what I do, I get to. So I mentioned BlizzCon. I don't know if you guys know about that sort of thing, but BlizzCon is it's a huge convention for Blizzard games, and Blizzard is the company that makes World of Warcraft, StarCraft, Hearthstone, all these games like that. And I get to actually go up on stage and host and cast, you know, the World Championships of World of Warcraft as a result of what I do. So, you know, I'll be up on stage this year, you know, breaking down the gameplay, and that's really exciting and stuff like that. But yeah, my parents, now that all of that is accomplished, right? Now that we've shown them BlizzCon, they've seen me up on stage, there's some legitimacy to what I do, they feel pretty good about it. But obviously, when they moved away, and they told me the one thing I wasn't allowed to do was quit my job, and I quit my job, they weren't super thrilled. But here's the cool thing about my parents, and I really do hope that all of you guys have really supportive and awesome parents like I did. But I think that they were my entire life. You know, they were there for every game, every practice. My dad actually coached my basketball team for a while. They were there to help me with homework. They had my back. They were like my best friends in a lot of ways. But I think their final challenge as parents, after supporting me through everything I did, forever, being on board, was finally being like, I'm not so sure that he's going to be okay living with his friend, making YouTube videos for a living. I'm not so sure he's going to be okay. But they still supported me. They still said, we trust you. You've done a pretty good job up until now. We'll give you the benefit of the doubt. So yeah, I think that they're pretty concerned there at first when I was sort of just taking a blind leap as they felt like it. But what was also important was my ability to, like I was telling you, is my ability to sort of give them an account, give them a narrative of what I thought I was doing. So whenever you're talking to people who, you know, why should I support you in doing this? You being able to tell them a convincing reason or multiple convincing reasons, or at least give them an idea of what you're thinking, that's valuable. So for my mom and dad, I was like, listen, I know I'm playing a lot of video games. I know I'm spending a lot of time sitting here talking to my computer, but I'm working on something. And it's hard for me to tell you exactly how this is going to work out, but I am very confident it's the right thing to do. But by all means, listen to your parents, because they are pretty knowledgeable, I imagine, about guiding you in the right path. But when the time comes that you say, you're not so sure about this, Mom and Dad, but I am, you need to be able to explain to them what you're doing so that they are like, well, she seems to have an idea of what she wants to do. I don't really get it, but I support you because I love you, and that's how it works. Yeah?
When you first started, did you think that you would grow to be this big and start getting all these sponsors?
No way. No way. When I first started, I had no idea of what this was going to turn out into. I had a model, though. I had like an idea that playing video games and doing YouTube for a living was a thing that could happen. But when I started, that's not really what I had in mind. But as I continued, I was like, wow, it seems like my channel's doing pretty good. I feel like I could really make something special out of this. And that moment happened pretty quickly. But the most important thing about that isn't necessarily, so I didn't go into it with that intention, but as soon as it clicked, as soon as I felt in my heart that I was like, this is going somewhere. This is worth my time. This is definitely something that I love to do, that's growing, that I have a talent for, and that I'm willing to put in the work for. That's when you really should start to invest. And not throw everything aside, not stop doing other things that are important, but say, this is special. I'm gonna work on this. And that thing could be a lot of different things in your life, but when something strikes you, that really gets me excited. That really is something that I want to put a lot of time into, go after that. That's worth it. So, good? Everybody feeling good?
Yeah, we're pretty much to the end of the period. I mean, we have just
Cool.
2 minutes left. And
Aw.
really glad you came.
Yeah, well, it's been fun talking to you guys. Thanks for all the questions. I appreciate that.
So you think World of Warcraft will ever grow out of its popularity and you have to find something else to do?
There are, so the thing about, this is what I like about her question so much, is that it's not about the game that I play, it's about how I share myself and how I continue to do what I do that matters, I think. So I confidently feel I can play any game or no game and still do what I do. But yeah, I mean, that's the crazy thing about social media is that things allow for previously unexpected or unheard of careers. But there's an important part of that question too, is that you need to keep your head up. You need to be doing what you're doing. Even now, I think it's important for me to have that same goal A, goal B idea, right? I'm not trying to have goal B be a huge divergence from what I'm doing, but it's an example of, I started off on YouTube, and then all of a sudden I heard that live streaming was a thing, and I was like, well, I'll keep doing YouTube, but now I'm also going to do live streaming in addition to it. And as time has gone on, live streaming has actually become way more lucrative for me personally than making YouTube videos. So you got to keep your head up for different opportunities as they arise, because I might be able to continue to do exactly what I'm doing for a very long time, but more than likely it's going to look a little bit different in a couple of years. But I'll keep doing it. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much.
Cool. Thanks, guys. Again.
Thank you guys. Lovely wife over there.
Yeah, we didn't talk too much about Jenny, but she literally carries the squad, so she is the reason why I get to do what I do.
We actually met online because we both had YouTube channels.
Really?
And, yeah, we did.
Yeah, don't talk to strangers, especially on the internet,
We
right?
both played World of Warcraft, and I actually played longer than he.
Yeah.
But
Is she better than you?
She's better at me at some things in the game.
And the other lovely person over there is Mrs. Hookstrip, the other photos. That's Mrs. Hookstrip.
Tell us everything on
Yeah. So the famous other side of me. So, all right, thank you so much, everybody. Thanks, guys, for videotaping.